Hello everyone, my name is Jesus Torres and thank you so much for joining today's discussion here at Rational Angles. What I want to talk about today is how I've seen a lot of videos lately on social media which talk about how President Trump has been firing a lot of people from his cabinet. People talk about how he has fired the Attorney General. They talk about how he has fired several people in the Army and other armed forces, and how he has just fired a lot of people in the cabinet, especially lately. And this makes me think back to when he was first running for president, and a lot of people were very excited because they said, since he's a successful business person, and this is what they said, then he would be able to do very good for the country, that he would be able to make everybody be successful and rich in the country because he'd know how to run it. And when I heard that, I didn't really agree with the fact that they wanted the country run like a business. And this is literally what they said, that they wanted the country run like a business. And that's not a good thing, because businesses and governments, they're not the same thing. They don't have the same end goals. For example, a government is supposed to look out for everybody within their jurisdiction. They're supposed to look out for their safety and their well-being. But companies, they're not looking at that. What they're really focusing on is the profit, the bottom line, and cutting down costs. They want to make sure that they make the most money for their shareholders. And when the election was going on, I kind of had the feeling that when people were saying they wanted the country to be run like a government, the government to be run like a company, that they were kind of under the idea that they were like stakeholders, and anytime the government received funds, that they would also get funds. And that's just not the way it works, so that was very, very odd to me that they felt that way. And another difference is that governments, they actually look long term. If you notice, they look at long term, and the decision making process is typically very long. It involves a lot of steps just to get a law passed and approved. They have to go through writing the law, getting it approved and reviewed, and then it goes through different votes before it's actually passed. So it could take a long time for laws to be created or changes and amendments to be created. Whereas companies, they move much faster. If they need things done, they typically can get them done much faster than the government does. And they just, they don't require as much decision-making process, because what their bottom line is they're looking to make profit. Also, we have to take a look at another angle, which is that when somebody, let's say a citizen of a country, let's say they get to a certain age and retire, or they become disabled, or just unemployed for any variety of reasons, they're still a citizen of the country. The country still has to look out for their well-being and their safety. But if a company, for whatever reason, decides that the costs to keep an employee are no longer justified, they would just go ahead and terminate the employee. And this makes me think a lot how people wanted to get rid of wasteful spending during the election, and they just figured that anything wasteful spending was something that other people used. They never considered that something they used would be considered wasteful spending. So they were shocked when they found that a lot of the benefits that they received were going to be cut off, like farmer subsidies or insurance subsidies, benefits like welfare. And that's just it just feels like that's part of running a government like a business. They're just trying to cut costs without looking at the long picture or the long-term effects of everybody that is not a stakeholder. And these are some of the reasons why I think that a company and a government should not be run the same way. What do you think about this? Do you think governments should be ran like businesses? Or do you disagree and you feel like they shouldn't be run like businesses? I really like to know your opinion, especially because this was a big talking point during the elections. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out. And like the video and share the video. And I want to thank you for joining today's discussion. Again, my name is Jesus Torres with Rational Angles. And until next time, have a great rest of your day.